Hey, what's up, everybody? Y'all come on and get in here. We finna have a little discussion. I mean, I don't know why I ever got off the live stream after all of that went down in the World Championship, National Championship final. This was a crazy meet, y'all. But let's have a discussion. I want to actually hear from you. What is your opinion about what took place this evening? And while you coming in, make sure you let me know where you coming in from. What state y'all representing? What country you representing? Oh, this is a crazy angle. Yo, this is crazy. All right, like I said, y'all just coming in. We about to have a little recap. We're finna have a little discussion about what went down with the world champions today. We want to talk about the push. We want to talk about the upsets. We want to talk about the people who took the win, the people who we expected to have more out of, and the people who just were able to get it by the skin of their teeth. What do you think? What is on your mind? I want to hear from you. I've done enough talking. We've done enough watching everybody else's stream. Now we want to get into how you feel about what was showed today. So there's been a lot of discussion, people talking about. Damn, this whole time I gotta get better with that, bro. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it, y'all. Welcome to the live stream. We just gonna have a discussion, a little conversation about what's been going on with the national championships, y'all. We had a crazy meet this whole weekend. We had a lot of upsets, and we had a lot of people whose name will be remembered throughout the history. Now they are national champions, and they will be advancing to the world stage. This is also built up so much hype for this is building up a lot of hype for the Diamond League final, which will be coming up in a couple weeks, because we want to know who's going to defend their title or who's going to build upon their season's best, who is rounding into shape heading into Worlds, and who really wants that money, who wants to get that bag. Yes, I appreciate you, DB. You from the UK? Okay, shout out to UK. This is the first person in the chat, I believe, who's from the United Kingdom. So I definitely want to know, from outside looking in, how do y'all view our nation's performance? How do you view how US showed up in these national trials? How do you view the drama? Does it impact you? Do you think it's going to help build the sport? Do you feel like it is showcasing some sort of dissension within US track? And that, how does it make you feel? And so there's a lot of conversation going online on Twitter. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look at that. And I don't know messy shit, but this is just a little bit of journalism. Just a little bit of journalism. I want us to go ahead and look at some of the conversation that is taking place online, particularly on X, regarding these the trials. So if you do a simple search for Lyles and then Kenny, this is what you'll see. This is all the talk and all the conversation that is exploding all over Twitter right now. Everyone wants to know what the is going on and what the has taken place, yo. These are front running Americans, and there seems to be a little drama that's brewing between amongst all of them. So we got, of course, the race that we seen where Noah Lyles was able to edge out Kenny Bennett right on the line. This is something that Noah Lyles is notorious for. He has consistently stated, "Oh yeah, you might beat me during, I might get out the blocks a little slow. Maybe that curve we can use a little work on that, but you cannot touch my type in speed." However, Kenny Bednarik has consistently stated, "You have a little bit of privilege these times that you've beaten me, and I've beaten you once before, so I certainly can beat you again." Let's not forget that he is the silver medalist from these most recent Olympic Games. The silver medalist because he has what it takes to be the winner. And because he feels that energy, anybody who tries to get in his way, literally or figuratively, he putting a stop to it. Or so he thought. I think this is energizing Noah. I feel like Noah's about to come back and he's going to become stronger. He's going to grow harder from this. And I think that Kenny Bednarik is going to do the same thing. He's going to go back to the lab. He's going to exert that energy. That emotion, it will be felt, but it needs to be done in a constructive way. Take that to the track in training. I don't like to see this explode more than what it is. But shit, we can't lie. It's entertaining, y'all. And it got Twitter going up crazy. So if y'all are viewing this, I appreciate y'all. Shout out to UK. We got one UK member in the chat. Make sure that y'all go ahead and call me. Let me know your opinion. I want to hear your perspective of what went down today. And I want to hear, if you want to come face to face, you can as well. The top comment in the chat is the link that you can use to come up here on StreamYard. And so you said London is where you're from. So shout out to London. I never been. I got to make my way out there. And so yes, this was the national finals. This was the final night for the national finals. We have confirmed who we will be sending to the Tokyo Championships this summer. And one of the heaviest conversations was the men and women's 100 and 200 meter races, but there were shockers all across every event, from the long distance to the sprints. There were some shocking the field events. So this has been one of the most entertaining championships in the world. And you know what just dawned on me? What dawned on me is the audacity. The audacity for our national media companies not to have invested or not to have paid respect to track and field. It is well known that well, it has been rumored that track and field could not be picked up by national broadcast services. National broadcasters, and they were saying that there wasn't enough money in track and field, so they did not want to buy it. Now, I'm not for certain if that is true, because it does seem like USATF took advantage of this, because they required that you buy a subscription. Buy a subscription to USATF and you can watch the first two nights. And then if you buy a subscription to NBC, so that's two subscriptions you got to get in order to watch these national championships. And that's wild. That is crazy, because that's almost $30. That's almost $30. And I'm not really complaining, but it impacts visibility. And if we don't have eyes on the sport, then it becomes a challenge for us to grow it. But unfortunately for them, they missed out on all this good media. All attention is good attention, so they say. I don't really agree with that 100%. But people are looking at this. There are eyes on this, and there could have been eyes on those broadcasting systems if they, appreciated and value track and field as they deserve. Like I always say, track and field is the common denominator for each and every sport. There's no sport outside of maybe ping pong where you don't have to sprint. We sprint in football, we sprint in basketball, we sprint in every sport. So we need to show love and respect to track and field. Maybe I'm biased, but it is what it is. Nevertheless, Noah Lyles knows how to put eyes on him and knows how to put eyes on this sport. But Noah Lyles hasn't done something that hasn't been done several times before. We've had NCAA athletes. Hold on. Let me not fuck this up. Let me not make this mistake. We've had other athletes who have stared down runners at the end of a race before. This is not the first time that this has occurred. However, this is the first time that I've seen someone actually push someone else. If y'all old school, old heads like me, old track fans, we remember when Tyson Gay and Usain Bolt lined up. And Tyson Gay had been in contention with Usain for several meets. He was bubbling under, and Usain Bolt was very flashy. Usain Bolt would look left and right. Usain Bolt would act like he's jokingly jogging while these other people are dying and fighting for every bit of an inch they can get. And he was so cavalier about it that Tyson actually spit. And I hope I didn't say Tyson Bever. Tyson Gay spit in Usain Bolt's lane, and that went crazy. That went viral way back in that day. So there's been drama in track and field. Track and field is not void of drama. It's a sport just like each and every other sport. So this is certainly entertaining, and everybody's talking about it. But I do wish Kenny would have held on to his composure a little bit more. I don't think it will affect his contract. I think his contract will be good. I think it would likely it can blossom. His contract can probably grow from this, because now we have a Batman and Robin story. Now we have two people that we can gauge against each other. This is going to be a conversation for years to come. People tried to count Noah Lyles out. Trust and believe. There are a lot of haters for Noah Lyles, and a lot of people saw Kenny Bednarik as some type of a savior, in a sense. And they've had that same conversation about oh, excuse me, y'all. I'm over here. That's why I appreciate you. My bad. That was not Tyson Gay. Was it Justin Gallen? In my brain, I thought it was Tyson Gay. So excuse me. I apologize to Tyson Gay if it was Justin Gatlin. Although the story kind of stands the same. There was somebody who spit and Usain Bolt's lane, and that went crazy. But Usain held his composure, and I think the true breadth of a your person's character is measured by how they conduct themselves when they're challenged. And that stare down was a challenge. But people are trying to spin a narrative suggesting that perhaps Noah Lyles ran directly in Kenny Bednarik's lane and kind of cut him off. But as we've seen from different angles, that is just not the case. I might have to show it from my phone, but there are several angles disclaiming that he cut him off. No, I'm gonna pull up on here. He did not get in his lane. In fact, Noah Lyles continued to run on the outside. But hey, while I'm looking for this angle, make y'all go ahead and hear this. Y'all go ahead. No, that ain't it. Y'all go ahead and make sure y'all call in. Let me know your perspective. Let me know how you feel about what happened this evening. And you can also come in via video chat by scrolling up to the very top of the comment section. I have a link that you can come in and we can discuss this face to face. How y'all doing out there this Sunday? I hope y'all had a good week. I hope y'all were blessed. Shout out to anybody out there from the Caribbean islands. As we know, you all celebrated your Emancipation Day, August 1st, which is much deserved. I'm going to start celebrating that because when one of us win, some of all of us win, and you deserve your freedom and you deserve to celebrate. Y'all celebrate any damn way. The best parties come from out of the Caribbean islands. So shout out to y'all. And I want to hear what y'all perspective is from the international fans outside of USA. How do you all feel about looking at our performance this weekend? So Becker said track needs this as long as the athletes can keep their composure. I agree. It will definitely spark conversation. It's similar to Geaton and Christian Coleman. That went crazy. That was a meet that wasn't even televised, I don't believe. That was just a meet that people that we saw the coverage because of cell phone footage, I think. And that went viral. Everyone knew about that showdown between those two gentlemen. But we've had a lot of little viral conversations this weekend from Sha'Carri and the things that are happening. And I'm actually glad she was resilient and able to bounce back despite having you know, the incident in the airport. She was still able to lace up her cleats. She was able to lace up her spikes and come out and actually perform well in the 200 meter. At least she was able to sharpen up her skills, sharpen up her racing ability. She was ran out of it at the end. I guess those ladies were just farther prepared for it than she was at this moment. But the good thing about it is she knows she has work to do. Nobody has a better story to tell though than Melissa Jefferson. Melissa Jefferson has been a conversation, and she has one of the most purest and one of the most beautiful stories out of these national championships because she got it out the mud. She's getting attention and she's getting popularity because she has ran fast times, because she did not fold under pressure when somebody else had a medal around their neck. She said, it doesn't matter. I deserve to be here. I train just as hard as you do. And so she has showed up and showed out as well in these national championships. There are other stories to be told. TT Terry, I really am a fan of hers. I appreciate it. Y'all make sure y'all check out her book. She's an author. She writes children's books, and she does a whole bunch of other things. The girl creates Lego artwork. She is a sculptor, a painter, a hair designer, a dresser, everything. I don't know. But shout out to TT Terry. She will certainly be a factor in the 4x100 meter race on the world stage. Me personally, I believe that the nation needs to go to the relay camps. They really need to buckle down and not take this opportunity, this moment for granted, because we fucked it up before. We have fucked this shit up before, and we don't want to do it again because we have the talent. We have some of the most talented athletes in this world. There ain't nobody in this world who are presenting 16-year-old teenagers to the world stage in a few weeks' time. There ain't nobody in the world doing it as with the quantity that we're producing them. If Geaton is on the 4x100 team and the distance runner, I think he won the 800 meter. If he's on that team, if not if they're on the team, they're on the team, but we're sending those athletes. And I think there's a woman or a teenage girl who made a distance team as well. That shows the true talent and the true power of the United States of America. And so I wonder, do people consider that when we have this discussion about, is America losing their edge? Are we losing our dominance? No, I think we are still dominant. I think there's one area of track that we might be able to have that conversation when we're discussing the women's 400-meter flat race, because we having so many changing of the guards. We've had such a powerful dominance in Paulino and Nasser that we almost feel like it's a given that one or two of those will win and everyone else is fighting for that last position. And with Sydney McLaughlin, she is such a strong contender and strong competitor. Oftentimes we don't know, is she going to actually line up for which race? Does she have the confidence to go out there and to race Nasser and Paulino and risk losing her undefeated streaks and crowns? Does she? And I think she may have already lost one race this season or last season, but nevertheless, she is known for winning and producing top times. Sydney McLaughlin is one of the best athletes across this whole sport ever. Hell, she got the world record. And so, is she willing to risk all of that for a championship medal? I certainly think she will get a medal of some kind. But Sydney McLaughlin wants gold. She's spoiled like that, and hell, she worked for it, so why can't she have it? In similar fashion, we have Gabby Thomas, who has also been dominant in the 200 meters. She's been the only one who can challenge Shericka Jackson, and even then, Shericka pulled out miles ahead in some races. But let's not forget, when it comes down to time, Gabby Thomas has been neck and neck with Shericka Jackson until Shericka pulled out that one race. So Gabby Thomas, it was no surprise that she won the gold medal. And she wants to defend that gold medal Olympic championship. She wants to defend that. But will she? Can she? Because today, her performance drove anxiety. You looked at her and you did not know. We know she's a very fast closer, but that curb was not like her. because she's generally in contention when she's off that curve. In fact, somebody proved me wrong in the track, suggesting that she's actually a good turn runner, that she is an expert on knowing how to run the turns. So to see her perform like this, it questions is she still as dominant? But this is we still have time to go. So I have faith in her. You know, she lives here in Austin. That's where I'm from. This is my hometown. So I always am rooting for Gabby Thomas. She's one of the finest in the field as well. So she is definitely, a lot of eyes are on her, and she has backed it up. Beauty and brains all rolled up in one. So what's not to love about Gabby Thomas? And hopefully she can sharpen her skills and get back into peak form. But Melissa Jefferson is still the conversation because she is our now new 200-meter national champion, as well as the 100-meter national champion as well. Dennis Mitchell is one of the most silent, valuable player. He gets the SMVP award because we did not see him on any of the coverage, but everybody needs to speak Dennis Mitchell's name. At least every sprint athlete is speaking Dennis Mitchell's name because he has produced the most sprint athletes this national championship than any other coach, I believe. I don't know that fact to be true, but you can't deny his power when you talk about Kenny McNair, Courtney Lindsay, Melissa Jefferson, T.T. Terry, Sha'Carri Richardson, Kayla White, Tamari Davis, I think. I could be wrong. Who else was trained by him? And the list goes on, but I know for a fact those are our front runners that will be leading into the world championships. That's 7 athletes across the 100 and 200 discipline that will be heading to worlds. And these are not just athletes that are good. These are athletes that can actually win this thing. There's even conversation that there could be some form of a sweep. So shout out to Dennis Mitchell. He is definitely the silent most valuable player because we didn't get to see him, but he is a force to be reckoned with. So shout out to him. Also, if we go back, there's been a lot of other conversation regarding Kenny McNair and this track Spice Gate. Everybody want to know, was he and his girlfriend behind Track Spice? Now, I'm not going to lie. I have my own opinion about Kenny McNair. Of course, I would love to see him win. I want to see every black man win. And that's one of the valuable things about track and field is that you get to see black people win in large quantities across every discipline, from the distance to short as well. But it is important that we maintain our composure. Nevertheless, there was a lot of drama going on behind the scenes. There have been arguments. There have been conversations. There have been confrontations. Because as I heard, I'm not a 100-meter runner. I don't run shit at all. Actually, I do what I can around the track around my house. But these gentlemen don't talk to each other outside of the meets. Is from what I'm hearing. They train together. And that builds some type of camaraderie, but ultimately they do not. They don't typically hang out with each other, and so that is a breeding ground. I mean, this is a competition and it's an individual sport. Now it does impact, and that is the reason why I have so much respect for the 4x100 because you can drop the baton by technique, by not having the technical skill, and you can drop the baton by not being psychologically and mentally prepared and ready to handle the pressure or ready to showcase and actually execute all the training that you have been undergoing. And so these are things that all take into place. These are things that we are going to want to have answers for when we get to that world stage and when we get to that Diamond League final stage. So I appreciate everybody coming in here. Y'all keep on coming. Y'all make sure y'all share, at least like and comment. And I actually want to hear from you. Does anybody want to come up here? I have the phone lines open so y'all can call in and give y'all perspective if you choose. You can also type come to the very top of the chat and you'll see my link to come in and do a video conference, video chat on the live here. And we can also, I'm gonna try to see if y'all can come up directly from YouTube, but I definitely want to hear y'all perspective and how y'all feel about what taking place. Let's go to the messiest dude in track and field. Oh yeah, y'all, I'm heading to Xavier University in a couple weeks, so if you wouldn't mind, please hit the Cash App $X Cheney, and anything, any a dollar, $5, $20, everything will help, and I greatly appreciate any donation that y'all are able to give. So this is the messiest dude in track and field, Aaron Brown. Now, a lot of people got mixed feelings about this dude. I certainly do. But one thing you got to say is he's confrontational. He knows how to get the conversation going. And so this was the video I was looking for earlier. Is there was conversation of people saying that no, Kenny McNair was not at fault because Noah Lyles got in his way. But as we look at this slowed down version, was that necessarily the case? Not at all. Not at all. Kenny McNair actually ran on his outside and ran into Noah Lyles' lane. So it is evident and clear that Kenny felt that pressure. Kenny felt that pressure, and he wasn't finna let nobody make a fool out of him. He said so himself, actually, as we go ahead and take a look at what he stated following his performance.
And do you care to explain what happened between you and Noah at the end there? Your thoughts?
I mean, you don't like I said before for years, Noah's gonna be Noah. He wants to stare me down, that's fine, but I ran 5 rounds, he's fresh. He can line up again or go fresh and see what happens. Because I'm very confident I can beat him. That's all I can say. A little personal stuff, and we'll figure it out. What did he say to you? Oh, what he said doesn't matter, just what he did. That's it.
I know it's difficult to hear. That's the X broadcast. I mean the X channel.
I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, he's fresh. Last time he lined it up, I beat him, so that's all I can say. Next time we line up, I'm gonna win. That's all that matters to me.
You went over and tried to shake his hand afterwards, and he eventually did. Like, what happened? What did you say to him? What did he say to you?
I mean, grand summary is just don't do that to me. I don't do any of that stuff. I think it's not good character right there. That's pretty much it. I mean, at the end of the day, he won the race, so I got to give him his props. And he put him into it.
And you said after the NBC.
All right, there you have it. So Kenny McNair feels like he was disrespected. He felt like you don't stare me down. I'm another man out here. I put my best foot forward just like you did. So don't play them games with me. And I do apologize if it was difficult to hear because that's how the video on X was. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. All right. Shout out to you. And make sure y'all hit the Cash App. And so Kenny McNair said, nah, I'm a man. You're going to respect me. You're not going to disrespect me. But it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you do. What I'm focused on is the next time we line up, I'm going to beat you. He said the next time we line up, this ain't doing nothing but giving me energy because it's going to give me all the reason I need to beat you. He said, I had 5 rounds. You had 3 rounds. Those 2 rounds make a difference. And so if we had the same amount of rounds, there was no way you were going to beat me. I'm on your ass in so many words. So what do we think? If they had an even amount of rounds, do we see Kenny McNair pulling out a win over Noah Lyles in the 100 meter and or the 200 meters? That's going to be a big conversation. That's going to be a question that's going to need to be answered because Kenny been talking plenty shit, and we know for a fact Noah don't got no mind talking his. In fact, there is a rumor that Kenny Bednarik and his girlfriend are the ones who were behind the Track Spice account. Type in the chat if you know anything about the Track Spice Twitter account that had been going crazy all year long. Track Spice was different from Aaron Brown because Aaron Brown at least don't mind showing his face. Aaron gonna let you know shit like me. I don't mind. I'm gonna let you know who I am. I'm gonna say what I gotta say with my chest. But Track Spice was anonymous. No one knew who it was. However, people started to watch their pattern of the things that they were discussing, the things that they were saying. And what they realized, there was a whole bunch of hate for specific athletes, namely Noah Lyles and Gabby Thomas. I mean, there were other athletes as well, but they had their favorites. It seemed like the favorites were the Dennis Mitchell camp, and the opposition, the one the Track Spice picked on the most, was everybody else. So you dealing with an athletes who most of all of them are college educated with degrees. In fact, Gabby Thomas is an Ivy League degree holder with multiple degrees, gold medalist to add. So these people put their spidey senses together and they were able to crack the case on who was behind the Track Spice account. Now, this is all alleged. I don't have factual information that this person was behind the Track Spice account, but the rumor that has been going online and blazing on Twitter was that the Track Spice account was ran by Kenny Bednarik's girlfriend herself. Ain't that a bitch? Kenny Bednarik, girl, excuse me, and I don't mean to call her no B word, but ain't that crazy how they were able to find out who it was? And I can't really remember right now off the top of my head how they were able to pin it down to her, but I remember everyone confirming after it was revealed they thought it was her. Everyone flooded saying, oh yes, now this makes sense because she did this and that, and they were doing this, and this is why Kenny had this. Kenny was getting all the praise and everybody else was getting nothing. So when people found out who was likely behind the Track Spice account, the athletes want their lick back. The athletes had pressure, they had smoke for Kenny Bednarik because we see you consistently. We talk to you. You got a chance to say what you want to say to our face. Why do you have to start beef and drama behind the scenes when we can be man to man and put it on the line? And Track Spice was saying some pretty ugly things. And so there's a big conversation going on Twitter suggesting that Noah was upset because of Kenny and his girlfriend being behind Track Spice allegedly. And so let me know, have y'all heard about Track Spice? And as we check out the chat, we got Credo G saying Kenny is too emotional for the sport. Dude literally cried last year after losing. Yeah. I mean, track is an emotional sport. Track is an emotional sport, and it's difficult when it only come around every 4 years. It only come around every 2 years. We get a basketball championship every year. We get a Super Bowl every year. These dudes and these women have to wait years before they're able to line up again and prove their best. And so, yeah, perhaps he is. Perhaps there's an arrogance there. Do you think? Do you think he just doesn't like Noah Lyles? Do you think he thinks he's better than everyone else? What do you think gives him that angle or makes him have the perspective that he's entitled to the win? And if he doesn't win, he becomes emotional. I'd like to know your thoughts as to why. Because I can understand, I can empathize with why he can become emotional, but yeah, it's a sport. And you got to be able to handle yourself because that is when your character is measured. How do you handle it when you're under fire and under pressure? And BD said, yeah, there are many other athletes who cry. I mean, I think in every sport, the athletes are going to cry. because it's their life. And if y'all haven't heard, the other conversation that's going on behind the scenes are the conversation about their contracts. Their contracts, there's games that are being played behind the scenes allegedly with these um, shoe companies, with these apparel companies. There are people suggesting that they are pitting athletes against each other. They are choosing popularity and clout over talent. There are people saying that they are not showing respect to veteran athletes who've showed proven themselves to be valuable to track and field as a whole. For example, you got to think back on how Nike did Allison Felix and Shelly Ann Fraser Price once they got married. Once they became pregnant. Once they had their babies, the shoe companies tried to suggest that they weren't as valuable. They shouldn't get a paying contract that was valued as high as before they had their babies, because now they're not conditioned, they're no longer in shape. We had athletes like Daniel Roberts, who was able to pull out a silver medal win in this recent Olympics, be dropped from Nike right after the season. Where do we hear where someone is so close to actually being the dominant forerunning winner in an Olympic and they get dropped? That's the cause for them to get dropped by their shoe company. That's wild. So there's a lot that is at stake when we discuss the emotion that goes into running track. I tell people all the time, track and field is physical and a psychological competition, a physical and a psychological sport. And so when we talk about the emotion, when your money on the line, when you got to talk about paying bills that you prepared to pay bills for last year on gold medal salary, and you might jeopardize that and have to pay bills on a bronze medal salary the next year, your emotion is on the line. When you got a wife and mothers-in-laws who are allegedly Trump supporters, and no offense to anybody's political views, is there some type of entitlement that you feel deserving of? What do y'all think? All right, so Kedro G came back and say, Credo G, I like that name. If I was Noah, I would have thrown myself on the floor, then filed a complaint. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Will Noah Lyles petition something? Will Noah Lyles file some type of a complaint, because he has because he certainly was pushed. He certainly, I believe, has grounds to petition that. But then again, some people might say, well, it has been frowned upon for a long time. Looking back at other athletes. Remember, we had that happen at the NCAAs where the dude did that historic look back. And unfortunately, neither of them went on to really, go too far on the national stage or the international stage, but at least they were national championships in the NCAAs, and they looked back at each other, and he ran in his lane, and that was big drama, and that went all over viral all over social media. But he didn't push him. He didn't put his hands on him, but that became a grounds for disqualification in the NCAA system, at least, that if you look back or you showboat in front of other athletes, you can be disqualified. In fact, we had a gentleman, that notorious where they stomp on the ground and they do all that showmanship shit after they win the race. That some 400-meter gentleman did that, I believe, at the SECs, and his time was disqualified because of the showboating, as they called it. So does the NCAA standard and regulations carry over into the national and international stage? Does World Championship as a whole, does the U.S. National Association have any regulation or rules, policies regarding that showboating type of activity after these races? I don't know. This will definitely change the future of what is expected from our athletes. But hey, a look is a look. A word is a word. You can say what you want to say. This is a First Amendment right, but putting your hands on each other is not a part of anybody's right, especially when no one was an imminent threat to you. As we saw and we clarified, Kenny Bednarik ran into Noah Lyles' lane as Noah Lyles looked back but was not running towards Kenny Bednarik. So, does he have grounds to say, hey, he pushed me, he should be disqualified? Will the National Association say, hey, we have a policy and a rule against all that showboating after a win, anyways? Can both of them be fine? I don't think it's going to come down to that, honestly. And I don't see Noah Lyles being that petty where he will try to get Kenny McNair kicked out the team. Now, if Kenny catch him at the Steak Shack after this, if they catch each other in a warm up area as they trying to pack up, getting ready to go, and Kenny McNair having a cold cock him cold in the middle of the field, that would be a different story. We will hear about it. He will definitely be ejected because I definitely think this conversation between those two is not over. Nevertheless, it don't need to get that far. I hope it don't get that far. And we didn't see that. So from what we saw, I feel like Noah Lyles is comfortable with getting on that line, lining up, and let the best man win. And also Noah Lyles stated repeatedly. Matter of fact, let's go back to that. He said, I expect my apology. I read the list. I found out what they were saying. He said, I expect my apology over and over again. It looked like Kenny Bednarik said, nah, you're not getting an apology. You don't deserve an apology because you don't impede upon somebody else and step into their lane. Oh, no, 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 no. I gotta be careful. I gotta be real careful. Yeah, but he said what he said. So this has definitely been an entertaining national championship. Also, let's carry over. Let's talk a little bit about what happened in the men's 110-meter hurdle. I know a lot of people have been sad to see that Trey Cunningham did not make it through. And now there's conversation about we're taking 4 men to the world championships, but we might have 5 of the fastest men in the world. Can Trey Cunningham rebound and come back and win the Diamond League final? And if he does win the Diamond League final, does he have an argument to be made of letting him use his wild card to get into the world championship? Can USA take 5 athletes to the world championship? I don't think that's ever happened before. I think if you get the wild card, you deserve to use it. But what I heard a lot of people say in the chat is that no, you can only take 4. So we know for a fact Grant Holloway is secured. Most likely Cordell Tinch is for sure secured because he's the winner for this year's. Excuse me, not Cordell Tinch. Tharp is the winner. Jacoby Tharp is the winner, so he's a certain buy-in. Cordell Tinch, I see them keeping him as well. But will they knock out Dylan Beard for Trey Cunningham if Trey Cunningham produces a Diamond League win in the finals? Will they choose Dylan Beard over Trey Cunningham if he wins? Will they keep it as it was and give it rightfully to the third place finisher? Or will they take 5? Or will they measure it and see who has the best time of the two gentlemen? Yeah, y'all race it out. Who performs better in the Diamond League? Who has the better time throughout the season? And who had the better time on the finals that they were a part of? And so that's a conversation that there might still be some hope for Trey Cunningham. And there might still be some hope for other athletes like who was bubbling up athletes? Yeah, it's other hopes for other athletes as well. But I definitely think that Dylan Beard made it. I think we should send 5. I hope we get to send 5. And so there's conversation about Gabby Thomas as well. Do you all feel like Gabby was likely injured? Do we think Gabby was just not in shape and sharp enough? What are you all's thoughts? I mean, we can't deny that she did pull out a fast time, or at least she pulled out a win on the Grand Slam circuit when she pulled out her win, but she did not win consistently on the Grand Slam stage. She won the 400-meter race against some heavy hitters, or at least she came in second and third against Paulino and Nasser, but she did not produce or showcase that sharpness in these national finals. In the 100 meters, she didn't break 11 seconds, which we know is a goal for her. And I think she can do it. I certainly believe she's done it in training before, but you got to do it when it counts. And so she did go ahead and drop out of the 100-meter, which I always thought she was only doing that so she could have an argument to be made to be on the 4x100 team. But then also her 200-meter, that she didn't win. She got third place, which is unlike Gabby, because when Gabby is in shape and Gabby is prepared, she doesn't leave anything to risk. And it was scary because it actually looked like Brittany Brown edged her out, but no, Gabby probably won by height. All right, here they go. This is where it said repeatedly.
All right, so the conversation is still going on here, and Noah.
Apologize.
I expect a call. No, I'm saying if you got a problem, I expect a call. That's all I'm saying.
You know what? You're right. You're right. Let's talk after this. Okay. All right. So.
God bless.
All right, so the conversation is still going on here, and Noah.
You're right. I expect a call. No, I'm saying if you got a problem, I expect a call. That's all I'm saying.
You know what? You're right. You're right. Let's talk after this. Okay.
All right. So back talking about Noah Lyles and Kenny Minaric just for a second is confirmed there. He said, I expect an apology. But he wasn't the first one to say I expect an apology. Immediately after Kenny Minaric pushed Noah Lyles, Noah said, I expect an apology. He was the one who led off with that mantra. But now this is the song Kenny Bednarek is singing, and it's consistent with what they both stated in their press conferences after they said they both are blaming each other for being the disrespectful one, and both of them believe they both deserve the apology. I say put them in a swimming pool, let the best man who swims the fastest win, and that be how y'all settle your pissing contest. That is one way y'all can buffer and settle yourselves in to get prepared for the world stage when it really counts, when it really matters. Because these guys going to continue to beef, but they got to come together like we stated for that 4x100 final. They got to pull it together. All right. And yes, y'all know the Jamaicans is going crazy right now. There's this Jamaican channel I can't remember right now off the top of my head, and it's like 4 or 5 dudes, and they are definitely blowing this up. They are definitely talking about this rivalry and this contention crazy. But I wonder is do we have this same type of rivalry with the Jamaican athletes, which I'm sure we have because I've heard that Shelly Ann and Elaine's camps, at least maybe not the women themselves, but at least their support systems had a huge rivalry in Jamaica. But then we also saw a flip side of that where Usain Bolt and Johan Blake were close friends. They were training partners at least. So I wonder how all of this looks for on an international stage. But yeah, I'm definitely going to keep talking about it. If there's any more information that comes up, I am going to let y'all know here first. Y'all stay liking and subscribing, commenting, and sharing this. I greatly appreciate it. And if you like to donate and help me make it to Xavier University in New Orleans, as I'll be going for my grad program, please donate to the Cash App. I greatly appreciate that. And I will be coming back live periodically so we can continue having discussion. This is not over. There's more conversations to be had. This has been one of the most entertaining national trials in recent times. So I appreciate y'all for being a part with me in this journey. And I'll see y'all soon. God bless.